The second outermost roll of a flower is known as a corolla, and this is also known as collection of all the petals. Petals are generally colored, and the reason why they are colored is in order to attract the pollinators for cross pollination. Other than that, these petals they are also they also possess very good fragrance, and it also serves as an attraction for most of the pollinators, and as a result or for the as because the pollinators are helping in the process of pollination, the flower also gives something to the pollinators, and that thing is the nectar. So nectar bags are also present, or nectaries are present at the base, or at the base of the flower, generally close to the gynoecium, because when the pollinators will be moving or trying to reach up till the gynoecium, some pollen grains can get attached to the wings of those pollinators, and from the wings some of the pollen grains they may fall over the gynoecium, the stigma of the gynoecium, and fertilization may proceed if it is allowed for that flower itself. Corolla is also a modified leaf, and the kind of symmetry which is seen in the calyx and corolla, it marks the kind of symmetry which can be seen in the endoecium and gynoecium as well. So there are three types of symmetry which we already have an idea about. Radial symmetry, in which we can cut the flower into only two equal halves, and this kind of or this type of pattern is as such that you will be able to cut the entire flower into three equal parts if you try to use it. The second type of symmetry, or this particular radial symmetry, is also known as actinomorphic symmetry in case of the flowers, whereas some other flowers they show bilateral symmetry, and this bilateral symmetry is quite similar to the zygomorphic symmetry. It means that the entire flower can be only cut from one plane into two equal halves, and this can be quite easily evidently seen in pea flower. The endoecium and gynoecium are often for they also often follow the same symmetry which calyx and corolla has seen. And one very important part, that is perianth. The perianth is in some of the flowers like gulmohar and all, you will see that the calyx and corolla they cannot be well differentiated. So at that time we call or we name them as perianth, or even liliaceae family, all the flowers like the onion flower and several tulips and all. So what exactly do we call them? We call them as tepal. So the floral envelope, including both the calyx and corolla, is called the perianth. An individual member of perianth, when sepals and petals are not clearly differentiated, is called a tepal. I hope it is understood. Tepal is a condition when the calyx and corolla cannot be well differentiated. Next is about trimerous flowers, the flowers which have only three petals. You can see three petals are there in the first one, and the example is allium. Allium is what? Yes, it is the onion, allium cepa. Second is tetramerous. Floral parts are four, or the corolla is four in number, and that's why it is this kind of flowers are known as tetramerous, and you will find many other examples. Brassica is one of the example of it. Brassica means the mustard flower. This is one of the variety of mustard type of flower. Pentamerous, five petals. This is very common one. Most of the diacots and hibiscus flower and any other flower which you see normally, they all are generally pentamerous type. Now, what is the meaning of symmetry, which we already have little idea about? First thing is about the actinomorphic type of symmetry. This is also known as radial symmetry, where from the center you are able to cut the flower into several parts. So here we have three planes by which we can cut them. And that's why actinomorphic flowers are quite common, and most of the pentamerous flowers, they show this actinomorphic type of floral characteristics. For example, hibiscus and several other flowers which have five petals. Zygomorphic are quite rare type of flowers. Not rare, but yeah, they are quite limited as compared to the actinomorphic flowers, because these are P variety or Fabaceae variety of flowers where the size of corolla of is not similar for all the different petals. Here there are three different types of corolla which are present in case of pea plant. So that's why they are known as zygomorphic, and we can only bilaterally symmetrical or zygomorphic, and we can cut the flower from the floral from the mother axis into only two equal halves, and these two equal halves are quite similar to each other. That's why this is very important. And here vertical plan is only required for cutting these flowers. The last category is of asymmetrical flowers, a flower which cannot be divided into two equal halves, like most of the flowers which have like which have continuous rows, and you cannot separate the rows properly, or you cannot count them properly. They're all fused together. Those kind of flowers, some of them like canna is one of the examples. Canna, that yellow colored flower which is having a very beautiful fragrance, and it has two varieties available. One is yellow one, the another one is white one. That is one example of it. And this is also a flower which is monomorphic, and it has sorry, asymmetrical, and its all the other parts are not clearly understood. So these kind of flowers, they belong to the category of asymmetrical flowers. So this is about the symmetry of a flower. Now, what are different types of flowers? We already have discussed about the complete and incomplete flower. Complete flower is a flower which has presence of all the four rows, that is the presence of calyx, corolla, endoecium, and gynoecium. And incomplete flower, when any flower is lacking any of these four roles, suppose a plant has presence of only corolla, endoecium, and gynoecium, then we say that the plant is incomplete. Similarly, there can be any of these four parts missing, and we will say the flower to be incomplete. Generally we see that a plant is when a plant has presence of only endoecium or presence of only gynoecium, that time we say that the plant is incomplete, which can be seen in papaya plant or at times in cucumber. So the non-essential rods, we have already discussed about them. The calyx, when the calyx is fused together, we say that it is gamosepalous condition. When the calyx is not fused, it is polysepalous condition. Corolla, when it is fused, it is gamopetalous condition. When it is not fused, it is polysepalous condition. And what about perianth? Yes, when the calyx and corolla, when they are present together and they cannot be well differentiated, that condition is known as steeple, and it is very common in um, Liliaceae family. Here one more condition is there, that is when the sepals are colored, they are known as Cipolloid, and it is seen in bougainvillea. Estivation is known as the arrangement of flowers, or the mode of arrangement of sepals. It can be of both the sepals as well as petals, so it depends. So we will be discussing right now